Night settles over the small village, and inside her clay-walled home, the widow sits alone with a drum. Her husband once played like a heartbeat, woven into the marrow of their life. She never strikes it now, her hands too full of grief to call songs from a world he no longer walks. But she holds it close every night, arms wrapped around warm goat skin, listening to the silence between memories. Her tears fall quietly on the frame, each drop a story she cannot speak. The village sleeps outside her door, unaware that sorrow has become a fierce waiting drum. Then a tremor hums beneath her fingers, soft at first, like a breath escaping the earth. She freezes, knowing she has not moved, yet the drum answers her grief with a low rising call that shakes dust from the wall. The floorboards tremble, echoing a rhythm he once played to summon courage in dark times. Neighbors stir from their beds, hearing the old warrior's heartbeat. Return in the stillness of night, the drums speak, and the village listens, evolving, widow's silent drum, beaten by spirit, not by hand, where sorrow trembles, justice wakes, and people rise, remembering their strength. She clutches the drum tighter, fear mixing with devotion. The rhythm grows bolder, no longer mourning, now calling. A summons carried through walls and sleep, through memories buried under hardship, through hearts that forgot their own fire. Outside footsteps gather, men and women stand barefoot in the dust, eyes wide, chest lifting in unison. As the drums tremor becomes language, old injustice is warm like iron in a forge, reshaped by the beat into resolve, sharper than blades, oh deeper. Widow's silent drum, rise with the voice of the fallen, return truth to the weary, let justice walk where fear once ruled. A drum never dies when its rhythm is carried by love. A people never kneel when their ancestors drum through the night. She opens the door, drum in her arms, and the crowd gathers around her like a rising tide. No words are spoken, none are needed. The rhythm rolls through their bones, steady, unbroken, a promise that tomorrow will not be shaped by silence. And as the widow lifts her face to the moon, the drum thunders once more, guiding them all toward the dawn. shell a cry, carved by ancestors, dragged across the ocean's darkest night. He lifts the conch to his ear, listening past gulls and wind, past the hush of waking waves inside the hollow chamber. Names swirl like trapped rain, begging to rise, begging to be remembered by someone who still hears. Saltwater memory calls his spirit home, carrying truth in every trembling way. When he breathes their names, they return through him, seeking the shore they lost. He presses the shell to his lips and blows a trembling note, half lament, half prayer. The sound bends across the sea, a bridge of breath stretching toward the land that once held every heartbeat, now echoing inside this fragile home. Saltwater memory, whisper them home. Let the tide return their name to Africa's waiting arms, where no chain survives the truth. Oh, ancestors carried by storm, the sea remembers your names, traveling every way. Your voices rise each time we breathe. He steps into the cool surf, and with reverence cast the conch into the morning water. It drifts, spinning like a small sun, returning to its sky. The waves lifted gently, carrying forgotten names toward the distant continent that still whispers for its children. And as the tide curls around his feet, the fisherman smiles, for the sea has begun the journey that he cannot, returning every stolen name to the home that remembers them best. Storm sweats in the darkness, and a man sits alone on a thin mattress, counting raindrops that slide down the wall like silver threads, stitching time together. 1,000 nights have passed him by, but he marks the world in quiet rhythm, one drop, one breath, one promise at a time. The cell has no window, only a crack where the rain sneaks in, a narrow mercy in a place built to forget him. He leans close, listening to each drip, the water telling stories of clouds drifting free above barbed wire, of rivers moving with purpose no God can command. He traces the wet trail with his fingertip, feeling the world beyond reach, yet undeniably present. Every drop leaves a path, a reminder that nothing stays trapped forever. Not water, not hope, not a man whose spirit leans toward the horizon. Counting raindrops in the dark, he learns the truth the walls can't teach. Water always finds the sea, and he will find his freedom. Night stretched long and weighty, chains of silence thicker than iron, but the raindrops keep coming. Soft footsteps of liberation. He whispers numbers into the dim air, each one a step toward a distant shore. He has never stopped believing in. When he reaches 900, his heart trembles, but not with fear, with recognition. He is nearing a threshold only he can name. At 999, he closes his eyes, a smile rising like sunlight in a place that has forgotten dawn. The final drop falls, shattering on cold cement, like a secret cracking open. Counting raindrops in the dark, he feels a tide call his name. Return to the truth beneath the drip. No wall survives a spirit that follows water toward the sea. Stone holds bodies, not destiny. Water moves, and so will he. One day soon he will walk where raindrops gather. He sits back against the damp wall, eyes shining in the half-dark, and whispers to the thousandth drop, you found your way, now I'll find mine. Somewhere beyond the cell, the rain grows louder, as if cheering him on toward a freedom shaped by patience, carved by hope and promised by every drop that ever touched his skin. And in that quiet smile, he is already halfway to the sea. Moonlight fades at the cave mouth as a fugitive slips inside, breath sharp from running, heart pounding with memories that refuse to stay behind. She lights a single candle, a trembling flame, against the weight of stone and silence. The Cave walls shimmer with shadow, rough surfaces waiting for stories that never found a home. She kneels, fingertips stained with soot and hope, and begins to draw a face, the first face she left behind when she fled the master's wrath. Lines curve slowly into living memory, cheeks shaped by sorrow, eyes shaped by courage. She whispers the name, letting it tremble into the dark, letting it settle like an old sealed in breath. More faces follow, children she once fed with trembling hands, elders who hid her when danger came, a sister carried off in chains, a brother wounded for her freedom. The cave becomes a gallery of ghosts who refuse to disappear. Evolving runaway slaves, hidden cave where stone becomes promise, and memory becomes map. Every face drawn in flame light is a vow to return. Runaway slaves, hidden cave where stone becomes promise, and memory becomes map. Every face drawn in flame light is a vow to return. Candle flickers, casting each portrait as both shadow and prophecy. She touches the stone gently, as if the rock itself might remember their voices. Her tears fall, darkening the dust at her knees, but these tears are not surrender, they are in. She steps back, watching the wall breathe with the faces of her people. The drawings seem to shift, alive in their longing, alive in their waiting. She lays her hand on the stone, feeling warmth rise, as if ancestors press back from the other side. Deeper runaway slaves, hidden cave, carved with names the world tried to erase. Return to the truth beneath your fear. Freedom is a road that circles back for the lost. Draw their faces, speak their names. Let stone hold what chains try to break. A promise made in darkness becomes a lantern for the path home. She presses the candle deeper into the earth, its flame small but unyielding. Before leaving, she places her own face on the wall, not as a farewell, but as a marker for the day she returns victorious. Outside, night wind howls through the mountains, but inside the cave, the drawings glow with purpose, a chorus of silent witnesses. She steps into the dark forest again, fear trailing her, courage leading her, knowing that one day she will walk back into this cave, not alone, but with every soul whose face she etched yeah, yeah, yeah. The schoolhouse leans into the night, walls thin as paper, floorboards creaking with every secret kept. The teacher kneels in the corner, lifting the loose plank that hides a treasure more dangerous than any weapon the colonizers fear. A forbidden book, heavy with truth. He lights a small lantern, its glow barely enough to illuminate the dust on the pages. Children slip inside quietly, bare feet soft on the dirt floor, eyes shining with hunger for stories never told in daylight. He opens the book, voice trembling not with fear but with reverence. He reads of kings crowned in sunrise gold, of queens who led armies and built nations, of scholars whose names stretched across the continent. Long before invaders drew borders, the children leaned closer, hearts pounding like drums, awakened beneath their ribs. Evolving, teacher's forbidden book, carrying truth through whispered nights, where lies build walls around the young, stories break them down, one name at a time. Each night the lesson grows bolder. He reads of empires forged in wisdom, of healers who spoke with rivers, of warriors who fought not for conquest but for the right to breathe free. The children memorize every syllable, their voices rising softly with his, until the room becomes a quiet choir of reclaimed memory. Outside, soldiers patrol the village, boots heavy with authority, but inside the schoolhouse, knowledge moves like fire under the floorboards, glowing without smoke, spreading without sound. Deeper, teacher's forbidden book, planting freedom where classrooms were barren. Return to the truths they tried to bury. The future remembers what the past refused to forget. A hidden book, a whispered page, a child learning the name the world erased. Rebellion begins with a story told after dark. One night he opens the book and finds the children reciting the chapter before he turns the page. Their voices steady, their breath sure, their memory flawless. He closes the cover softly, realizing the book can finally sleep. Its contents now carried in living minds. He returns it beneath the floorboard, not out of fear, but because it is no longer needed. The children walk into dawn with crowns growing in their thoughts, with history burning like sunrise inside their chests. In the schoolhouse, once silent and small, now holds a revolution woven from nothing more than truth, spoken quietly until it no longer had to hide. Oh. over the burned village as a young girl kneels beside the ashes, hands holding a brittle paper with a name she never chose, the priest who burned her home. Inked those letters with cruelty, hoping to claim her future the way fire claimed her past. She stares at the word written there, feeling nothing rise inside her chest. No belonging, no warmth, no echo of her people, only emptiness, only a hollow sound where identity should live. Slowly, the rip sharp as a wound opening. Pieces fall like dead leaves, carried by the faint wind. She walks barefoot toward the river, the same river elders once said knows every true name long before birth. And the moon climbs high, laying a silver path across the water. The girl steps into the cool shallows, knees trembling, voice soft as breath. River, she whispers, tell me who I am, give me back what was stolen. Evolving, orphan with a stolen name. Let the water speak what fire raised. As if listening, she waits, eyes closed, heart open like a wounded drum. A breeze stirs the reeds, and then a single wave rises as if answering her plea. It rushes forward gently, touching her hands, her chest, her brow. In the soft crash of water, sound forms a name, a melody of syllables, older than the priest's cruelty, older than flame, older than her grief. She gasps, feeling the name settle into her bones, like dawn settling into the horizon. It fills the empty spaces, lifts the weight of silence, shines brighter than the fire that once swallowed her world. Deeper, orphan with a stolen name. Walk home with a river's truth. Return to the name carried in your blood. No man can take what water restored. Identity whispered by earth, not written by conquerors. She steps back onto the riverbank, water dripping from her hands like beads of new destiny. The ashes behind her no longer hold a story. Her steps grow firm, her breath grows wide, and the river repeats her name in every ripple that follows. Tonight, the orphan walks away, not as a child of ruins, but as a daughter of truth, reborn by water, renamed by spirit, and claimed at last by a future that knows her voice. Dust lifts from the wide red road as the people march with steady purpose, their feet shaking the ground like a heartbeat rising from the earth's deep memory. At the edge of the procession, a deaf man stands barefoot, eyes closed, palms open, feeling the truth that others only hear. The ground vibrates beneath him, a rhythm older than drums, older than chant, older than the sorrow that brought them all here. He kneels, touches the soil, and smiles with quiet revelation. Though silence fills his ears, Jah fills his hands. He finds two pieces of fallen wood, weathered, uneven, still carrying the scent of rain. He grips them like gifts from creation, raises them above the earth, and waits for the next tremor to guide his first strike. The ground pulses, a signal of blessing, and he brings the sticks down in perfect time. The vibration leaps through the soil, running beneath the marchers' feet, pulling their steps into unity, tighter than any spoken call. Evolving deaf drummers and teaching the people to follow the earth where ears fall silent. Spirit hears and rhythm becomes freedom's guide. The crowd turns toward him, astonished not by sound, but by the feeling rising through their bones. His wooden sticks beat the ground until the entire procession moves as one heartbeat, one purpose, one rising nation. Children gather near him, placing their palms on the soil to feel the rhythm he shapes. Their faces brighten as they realize music is not limited to air. It lives in vibration, in breath, in the living pulse beneath their feet. Deeper, deaf drummers' hands, striking truth where sound cannot reach. Return to the rhythm beneath the world. Jah speaks in tremors felt before they're understood. His hands, he leads with his breath, and the earth becomes drum for every soul marching toward freedom. As the sun climbs over the horizon, the march grows louder in spirit, though no sound defines it. The deaf drummer lifts his sticks once more, holding them like torches of unity, and strikes the earth with steady conviction. The vibration spreads through the crowd, a wave of courage passing from one heart to the next. In that moment, the people follow him completely, not because they hear him, but because they feel him. And the road itself beats with the rhythm of liberation, guided by hands just shaped for this very day. Dawn spreads thin across the old road as the blind elder steps barefoot into morning. His walking stick taps the ground with patience carved from decades, each strike a question, each vibration a story, rising from roots hidden beneath the asphalt's hard skin. He walks for miles guided by sound alone, ears tuned to the earth the way others read maps. The stick hits a hollow place and he smiles softly, knowing a living root moves there, breathing under the tar like a memory refusing burial. Children follow from a distance, quiet as shadows, watching him tilt his head to the hum beneath his feet. He marks the spot with white chalk, a small circle glowing on dark pavement, a reminder that life survives where the city believed it had one evolving. Blind elders walking stick, teaching the road to speak again. Where roots whisper through the ground, he leaves signs of tomorrow for children to follow. Blind elders walking stick, teaching the road to speak again. Where roots whisper through the ground, he leaves signs of tomorrow for children to follow. Guided not by sight, but by the steady percussion of cane and earth in conversation. Every tap a lesson, every pause an invitation to listen beyond noise, beyond engines, beyond a grind of modern forgetting. At each living root he finds, he kneels and presses his palm against the trembling asphalt. The land is still breathing, he murmurs, his voice carrying the tremor of truth. The children draw closer, hearing the hope he hears, learning to trust what lives beneath the surface. Deeper, blind elders walking stick, rhythm of future footsteps, return to the truth under your soul's roots survive even when the world forgets them. Dreams tap the earth and listen, roots speak louder than roads. Life rises where children know where to look. The sun climbs high, the elder reaches the end of the long road, turns and smiles toward the sound of small feet. Behind him a path of chalk circles shines bright as seeds waiting for rain. The children step into his footprints, following the map he drew with sound, learning to hear the earth the way he always has. And as his walking stick taps once more, the road itself seems to breathe a promise that roots and truth and future will keep rising. wet soil clings to the boy's fingers. His morning fog curls around the clearing. He is 13 now, old enough to understand the weight of a weapon he was forced to hold. Before he learned the shape of childhood, the rifle lies rusted before him, a ghost he refuses to carry any further. He kneels with quiet breath, digging a grave for the metal that stole years he can never reclaim. Each handful of dirt feels like release, each movement guided by the memory of children lost to a war they never asked to fight. The earth receives the weapon as if relief to hide its sorrow. He lays a broken rifle down, its barrel cracked, its purpose undone. For a moment he stares at it, not with hatred, but with a tired understanding that violence is older than he is, but healing can begin with him. From a small cloth bag he takes a young cacao shoot, tender leaves trembling in his palm. He places it gently upon a mound, covering its roots with the same soil that once stained his hands in battle. Now the soil becomes promise, not battlefield. Child soldier no more, he plants sweetness where bullets once rained. Let the next generation hold cacao in their hands, never triggered, never fear shaped iron. Wind brushes through the clearing, lifting dust and blessing in equal measure. Birds settle on nearby branches, watching as a boy stands taller than he ever felt with a gun. He whispers an ode to the sapling, a vow trembling with future. You will grow for them, you will grow for me. His heartbeat aligns with the earth, slow and steady, free from command or threat. The cacao leaf quivers, catching a glint of sun, a fragile flag of peace raised by a child who survived its absence. Child soldier no more, his hands shape harvest, not harm. Return to the truth beneath the soil. Life grows strongest where violence is buried. Let iron rust into memory, let children grow without orders. Let cacao rise where rifles fall. As the sun climbs higher, he steps back from the mound, barefoot, unarmed, yet stronger than any soldier's march. The sapling sways in a morning breeze, a quiet revolution rooted in red earth. He knows that one day children will gather its fruit, smiling with hands unscarred by war, hands that will never learn the cold weight of a trigger. And beneath that tree, peace will taste sweet again. Night gathers around our small wooden porch, lamp unlit, air holding its breath for the choice in her hands. A single matchbox rattles softly, one stick left, one spark waiting to define her final purpose. Behind her the land sighs in darkness. Before her a fence stands like an old wound refusing to heal. She walks toward the dry rails of the fence, fingers trembling yet sure, carrying years of silence woven into this narrow path. They told her to save the light for herself, to chase the night from her own room. But she has lived long enough to know some flames must burn for everyone. Old woman's last match, striking truth where walls once ruled. Let the fire return what fences tried to claim. Open the way for every soul waiting in the dark. She draws the match along the box, a thin spark leaps, bright as memory, fragile as breath. The flame touches the fence and the wood drinks it eagerly, crackling with the sound of generations breaking free. Old woman's last match, burning a doorway into dawn, where fear once held the road. Ashes become soul for freedom's seed. A single road can free a village, and one hand trembling can shift the world. When the fire settles into glowing ash, a wide opening stands where the fence once held the world apart. She steps back, hands empty but spirit full, watching children cross the new path with wonder shimmering in their eyes. Her last match leaps in the embers, yet its flame lives on, lighting away. She never needed to walk alone. Whoa. The farmer steps into the ruins of dawn. Smoke curls upward in weary spirals, carrying the ghost of yesterday's fire, the fire that swallowed months of labor, sweat, prayer, and patient waiting. The land lies dark and silent, a graveyard of once green promise. He walks slowly through charred remains, boots sinking into soft black memory. His heart trembles at each step, feeling lost set along his shoulders. Like a coat too heavy to remove, he reaches down, scooping warm ash, letting it fall through his fingers like broken blessings. In his throat as he kneels amid the silence, hands sinking into scorched soil, seeking something, anything, to prove the fire was not the final story. The earth feels tired but not defeated. Near the center of the field, a glint of green cuts through gray. He freezes, wipes his eyes, leans closer. A single corn sprout rises from the ash, thin, trembling, but alive, alive where everything else fell. Evolving, farmers burnt field, holding one living truth. The earth remembers what fire cannot erase. Hope grows even through ruin. He touches the small stalk gently, fingers shaking with disbelief. Tears spill, but not the tears the fire earned. Tears shaped by gratitude, raw and unexpected. He whispers blessings to the sprout, voice breaking as he feels life pulse against his palm. The wind shifts, lifting the scent of warm soil, carrying echoes of ancestors who once told him land forgives, land returns, land knows your name. Now he understands deeper. Farmers burn field, breathe truth through the smoke, return to the strength beneath the ash. The earth holds memory, stronger than flame. Rash is not the end. It is soil waiting for courage. Life hides beneath ruin, ready to rise when a single seed refuses surrender. Fixed on the sprout, shining like a small green star in a sky of black earth. The field around him is wounded but not dead. He places both hands on his heart, whispering thanks to the soil that remembered what he nearly forgot. And as the sun climbs over the horizon, the lone corn stalk sways gently, as if greeting the day on behalf of a whole future harvest. Proof that nothing planted in love is ever truly lost. The land remembers, and now so does he. funeral tent as the granddaughter kneels beside the body, hands trembling around a folded burial cloth, white as dawn, heavy as the silence left behind. She opens it slowly, revealing stains of tears dried into the fabric, marks that shimmer like an unexpected map. She spreads the cloth across the ground, tracing each darkened line with her finger. Some stains curve like rivers her grandmother once spoke of. Others gather like villages where freedom still lived in whispered stories. The cloth breathes memory, unfolding a path older than grief and deeper than the ache in her chest. Her family watches unsure, but she already knows what she must do. The map was not drawn in ink. It was shaped by sorrow, by survival, by a lifetime of longing for soil, left behind but never forgotten. She ties the cloth across her shoulders like a blessing carried into the world. Evolving. Grandmother's burial cloth guide her feet along the road of tears and truth, where memory becomes direction. The journey home begins with a single breath. She steps out of the village gate, bare feet touching roads that echo her grandmother's heartbeat. Wind lifts the edges of the cloth as if ancestors walk beside her, whispering courage into her bones. She follows the stains like constellations, each one pointing toward a light her grandmother always wanted her to know. Dirt paths turn into forest trails, streams rise to greet her, birds circle above as if scanning for the name she carries. With every mile the burial cloth grows lighter, as though grief releases its hold and purpose takes its place deeper. Grandmother's burial cloth, woven now with breath and direction, return her to the land of first freedom. Every tear a compass, every step a reclamation. Tears become rivers, rivers become roads, and roads become home when the heart walks unafraid. At sunset, she reaches a small plateau, red earth glowing like warm embers. The air shifts, familiar sacred waiting. She feels the cloth warm on her shoulders, as if her grandmother stands behind her, whispering, "This is where I was whole." The granddaughter kneels, presses the cloth into the soil, and the wind circles gently, lifting grief into peace. She closes her eyes, knowing the journey is complete, the map fulfilled, the lineage restored. Fruit stalls bare as the sky shifts toward dusk. A woman stands alone beside a basket, palms rough, dress faded, holding a last copper coin. The one small circle of value a long day of labor gave her. She turns it in her fingers, feeling its weight, feeling its promise, feeling the ache of hunger tighten across her ribs. But her eyes follow a different hunger, the hunger for a future where children carry sweetness instead of sorrow. She walks to the old mango tree, the market's edge, roots sprawling wide like arms ready to cradle tomorrow. She kneels, digging a shallow hollow with trembling hands. A copper coin glints in the fading light before disappearing into the earth, evolving. Market woman's last coin, planted in soil richer than gold, where misery seeks to swallow the present. She sows a future that no hunger can steal. She covers the spot with gentle care, patting the soil as if tucking in a child. Grow wealth here, she whispers, not for herself, but for those who come after, for the little ones who deserve fruit without fear, and mornings without scarcity. Wind rustles the leaves overhead, shaking down a single ripe mango that lands near her knee. She smiles but does not eat it. Instead she presses it to her heart, a quiet sign that the earth has already begun to answer. Children approach curious, she shows them the mound of soil, telling them this is where hope lives now, where patience will bloom sweet if guarded with love. Their eyes widen, learning well from a woman who owns nothing but unbreakable vision deeper. Market woman's last coin becomes a seed of defiance. Return to the truth beneath your feet. The future grows strongest from sacrifices rooted in love. Plant what you wish to harvest, bury what misery hands you, and let tomorrow rise through unexpected sweetness. Final refrain as night spreads across the empty stalls. She stands beneath the mango tree, tired but unbowed. Her stomach may ache, but her spirit is full, filled with a wealth no empire counts, a wealth born of soil, of courage, of choosing tomorrow over despair. The last coin sleeps beneath the roots, transforming in the dark, while above it leaves sway like blessings for the generations yet to taste the fruit of her quiet